Hi guys! I have a mug that says "But First Pumpkin Spice" and a Dragonfly Inn sweatshirt. Feel the comments coming in talking about how basic I am. I just want to say, I was an OG fan of Gilmore Girls. I started watching it when I was in like 5th grade. Most of you are probably here because you're part of my very small subscriber count on my other channel, which is called Princess Bre Reads, where I talk about all things nerdy, mostly books and some Disney. But I just wanted to make videos more about my life experiences and mental health, because those are things that I love to watch on YouTube. It's really helped me. YouTube has helped me in so many ways research stuff. But I feel like I also want to use this channel for vlogs and talk about my faith as a Christian, maybe some theology, maybe some stuff with my husband, some vlogs. Did I already say vlogs? Need the coffee. I'm going to talk a little bit today about my mental health journey. It's long, but obviously it's still going on, but this is just my story kind of up till now. So I have bipolar 2 disorder, which is classified kind of as a more milder form of bipolar disorder, but when you think about it, a lot of times people with bipolar 2 disorder have more experience, more sadness and hard, like bad feelings than people with bipolar 1, but people with bipolar 1 are typically participate in some risky behaviors because they have a higher form of the good feeling. So let me explain this to you, because before I looked into the fact that I might have bipolar disorder, I didn't know. And so I thought bipolar people were just like, you know, flying off the handle all the time and kind of like more like borderline personality disorder, not to in any way say anything bad about people with that or label them or anything like that. But you know, I thought that's what it was, and it turns out all it is you have periods of mania where you feel really high, you don't need as much sleep, sometimes you can't sleep because you're so wired, you feel on top of the world, you feel like you can do anything, you stay up really late, you want to create things, I mean not always, but typically, and you just sometimes you're a little too much for people because you're talking so much, you're talking fast, sometimes you're talking loud, and you just want to do all the things, and you're so active. And if you're not typically like that on a regular day, that can be like overwhelming for people and kind of weird. Also, a lot of people know what depression is. You know, you go through periods of depression, and a lot of times you can have one of these episodes like completely separate from the other. Like you can have a depressive episode and then a manic episode 3 months later. But for me, a lot of times they go kind of like in, I'm either manic and then depressed, or then depressed and manic. It just depends a lot on sleep for me. And we'll go into a little bit of that. But so I grew up kind of not an easy child for my parents to deal with. I would get my feelings hurt very easily. I would throw so many tantrums. It was to the point where my sister was like, oh my gosh, I think like she's like possessed or something, because she is like so angry all the time. I had friends, but my good friends that stuck by me deserve an award for like best friend ever, because I was hard to be friends with. If you did anything to hurt my feelings, I would freak out. And I just don't have like a lot of happy memories from, especially like 4th grade on. I just wasn't, people didn't like me because I was an easy target for bullying, and I was bullied. Even though I probably was unkind at times, and I probably was hard to deal with and different from a lot of other kids my age. And part of that is a good thing, but you know, I was a target for that, and because I got so angry and because I got my feelings hurt so often, people would label me without even realizing it. They would be like, oh, well, if she's telling on another kid, she probably was the problem and it probably wasn't the other kid, and so I'm just gonna like dismiss it or get her in trouble, or like, it was awful. And I just got to the point where I didn't want to go to school. I would like cry when the bus came. It was not good. And I moved to a small private school that I knew a lot of people at. It was connected to my church. I had gone there when I was little. And it was a lot better because the teachers didn't label students. They took things more seriously. And there wasn't as many kids that picked on me, and I had friends, and I still had problems. I still had some drama, but it was not as bad. Okay, this is getting cold, so I'm just gonna set this over here. I'm a princess when it comes to coffee and everything else. So when I moved to that school, things got a little bit better, but I remember there were times where, probably starting in high school, I would stay up until 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I would get up at 7. Sometimes I wouldn't even go to bed. Oh gosh. And I was like, this is normal. And like, I would write stuff. I would plan a bunch of things that were never really gonna happen because they were like too much money or not like logical at all. That's mania. And I didn't know it because I didn't know what bipolar disorder was. My parents didn't know. A lot of people don't know. So I probably had my worst depressive episode of my life in 2017, like probably like February is when it got really bad. And I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and anxiety disorder, which I already was diagnosed with. And I was put on an SSRI, I'm pretty sure it was an SSRI, and I started to get manic, but I didn't know that that was a symptom of anything else, and so I didn't say anything to my doctor about it. I just wanted everything to be okay. If you run from stuff, it'll just go away. Good life hack there. No, don't do what I did. I had my most intense manic episode not like sometime within the last year, 6 months, something like that. And that was when I went to the doctor because I was like so crazy. Like, I was so manic, and then I had such a bad like spiral drop down depression, and so I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and they wanted to see, to make sure I really had bipolar disorder, kind of like watch me kind of do like an experiment in a way and see, okay, if we put you on this medication, are you going to be manic because of it? Because if you're put on an SSRI, which is something that, if you have lack of serotonin, which is what happens with depression, then when they put you on serotonin inducing medication, that can make you manic. And so I went in, they were like, okay, we feel good about, saying that you have bipolar disorder, and then put me on Seroquel, which is being used as a mood stabilizer for me, but it is an antipsychotic. And I haven't had any episodes. If I remember to take my medication and I sleep for at least 8 hours every night, I don't have episodes. So it's so important to take your medication. It's so important to make sure you get enough sleep if you have bipolar disorder. Exercise is really good. Eating better is really good. I need to eat better, because it's your body all works together. It's all one thing, it's all related. So yeah, I don't really want to get into too many details, but I've been in some dark places with like depression, and I just think if you have a mental illness, please get help, and please consider taking medication. Some people don't need it because they can do all the other natural things, which is great, but if you're really suffering, there's no shame in it. It's an illness. Just like you wouldn't tell someone with diabetes not to take insulin. It's the same thing. It really is. It's a chemical imbalance. And so there are things you can do to help yourself. It's not an excuse for being a jerk. It's not an excuse for not doing anything with your life, but it is a problem, and it doesn't need to be treated differently than a physical illness, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm gonna stop today, but I think I'm gonna continue with these videos. I really hope that you guys like them. And yeah, so let me know if you want more videos about bipolar, what I should talk about next. And yeah, that's it.